Shalom, shalom, Zion. Shalom, my mishpaka. Shalom to you worldwide on this Yom. Shalom to the older brother, the lion, the Yahudah, the scepter, the ruler, whom a lawgiver shall not depart from between his feet. To the firstborn, to the younger brother, to the prodigal son, to the ox, whose horns has pushed around all nations, who has indeed become the completeness of the nations, who has indeed become all nations. Ephraim, to the ox, the younger brother, shalom to you. Shalom, shalom to the stranger, the ger, or the goyim, or the goy, or the Gentile, or the heathen, who was once a heathen, who was once a goy, who was once a goyim, who was once a part of the nations, but who has come out from among them, and who has enjoined yourself into the bayif of Yasha'al, who has attached yourself to the Yahid, the only begotten Son of Yahuwah, whom the covenants were given to, the promise was given to, and who the inheritance was given to alone. And by you, stranger, engrafting yourself into the bayif of Yasha'al, you are no longer considered a stranger, but you are indeed now considered a fellow citizen, and whereby now you are a fellow partaker of the same covenants, promise, and inheritance that were given to Yasha'al and to Yasha'al alone. Shalom, shalom, mishpaka. Worldwide on this Yom, wherever you are, on this Yom, who are under the sound of this hunk of dirt, this servant's voice, wherever you are on this Yom throughout the Eretz, shalom, shalom to you on this Yom. Mishpaka, my mishpaka. Once again, I'm using two cameras here. I'm using a new webcam where I am looking directly into, but I am also running simultaneously, and I'll look over here, another camera as well, where if one doesn't operate correctly, the other one does. And so if it appears that I'm looking away, then I have merely uploaded the camera of which I am not looking directly into. Nevertheless, shalom, shalom to you, Mishpaka. Also, as a disclaimer, I need you to understand something, Zion. I am a proclaimer. I am a proclaimer. I know who it is that I am. I know what Yahuwah has called me to do, and that is to proclaim. That is to proclaim. And as a proclaimer, I merely proclaim what Yahuwah gives me, and I proclaim to the four winds. Who has eyes to see will see, who has ears to hear will hear. I'm a proclaimer. I'm not a theologian. I'm not a scholar. I don't even consider myself to be a moray, a teacher. I am a proclaimer. Can I also teach through proclaiming? Absolutely. Absolutely. But first and foremost, I need you to understand that Yahuwah called me over 10 years ago to proclaim via a vision. And that's what I walk in. That is the office that I walk in. It's not a title. It is an office. That's just who I am. That's just what I do. I am a proclaimer. And so while teaching, or while I may appear to be teaching, you'll note that sometimes there's something that that rises up in me. There's a ish, there's a fire that rises up in me, and it may appear that I've gotten very passionate, and I'll start to yell like I've lost my proverbial mind. I mind you, I have lost my mind for the Most High. If I'm in my right mind, it is for you. If I am out of my mind, it is for Him. However, if I appear to be yelling like I have lost my proverbial mind, don't take it personally. Just understand who I am. I am a proclaimer. That's who I am. I'm not a scholar. I'm not a theologian. I am a proclaimer. Indeed, whom I most relate to is Kafah and Yahuchanan when they were standing before the Sanhedrin, the educated Sanhedrin, and they began, Kafah indeed began to speak. And it is written that the Sanhedrin, they discerned that these were unlearned men. They were unlearned men, but they could not refute what was being spoken through them with that which was coming from their belly by the very fire of the Ruach HaKodesh. They could not refute it. They could not refute it. So that's me, Zion. I'm not a scholar. I'm not a theologian. I'm not someone that's learned. I am a proclaimer, and I proclaim what the Most High gives me to proclaim, and it proceeds from my belly. It comes from the depths of my belly via the fire of the Ruach HaKodesh. Who has ears to hear will hear. Who doesn't have ears to hear won't hear. And whoever has eyes to see will see, and whoever does not have eyes to see will not see. It makes me no difference whether they hear or forbear. I'm going to proclaim to the four winds, nonetheless. Nonetheless. So just a little bit about me so that there is no misunderstanding with respect to what Yahuwah has called me to do. I'm a proclaimer. I am a proclaimer. I'm not a theologian. I'm not a scholar. I'm not someone who boasts in learning. I lean and depend on the Ruach HaKodesh who speaks through me, and his very word proceeds from my belly. The fire of the Ruach HaKodesh proceeds from my belly. That's who I am. That's who I am. Some may get offended. Some may perceive me as being unlearned or not a scholar. It's okay. I'm not here to to gain the approval of men. I could care less of whether or not you approve of me or not. I don't care. I am here to gain the approval of the Most High. I speak what He gives me to speak. Nevertheless, Zion, on this y'all, I want to talk to you just briefly about the secret place. The secret place of the Most High. We've heard this mentioned before, any of us who've been walking in truth at any length or who came from Christian churches, we've all heard about that secret place of the Most High that Sovereign Dawood talked about. But where is that secret place? Where is that secret place, and what is that secret place? I submit to you that some of you have seen it. Oh yeah, some of you have seen it. Some of you have been there in the Ruach realm. Some of you have seen that secret place. Some of us have not. But I'm here to proclaim to those who have not seen it to not dread. To not dread. Just because you have not seen it does not mean that you are not in the secret place. I mean, just because you have not seen it does not mean that you are not in the secret place. So what is the secret place? What is that secret place? Well, the first clue is that it's secret. The first clue is that it's secret. It's hidden. It's concealed. It's hidden. What is it? Where is it? What is that secret place? And why is it important to dwell there. Why is it important to dwell there? As we read in Tahalim, the 91st chapter, the very first verse, it reads, "He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High, who abides under the shadow of the Almighty." Let me pull that up and read beyond verse 1. So bear with me just a second. Let me pull that up and read beyond verse 1 and gain a little bit deeper perspective of that scripture and why it is important that we dwell in that secret place, that we dwell in that secret place. So looking here at Tahalim 91, or Psalms, the 91st chapter, it begins, "He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High, who abides under the shadow of the Almighty, he is saying of Yahuwah, my refuge and my stronghold, my Aluah, in whom I trust." I'll tell you what, I'm just going to go ahead and read this whole chapter. "For he delivers from the snare of the trapper, from the destructive pestilence. He covers you with his feathers." And this is a byproduct, by the way, of dwelling in the secret place. Of dwelling in the secret place. Verse 4, it reads, "He covers you with his feathers, and under his wings you take refuge. His truth is a shield and armor. You are not afraid of the dread by night, of the arrow that flies by day, of the pestilence that walks in darkness, of destruction that ravages at midday. 1,000 fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it does not come near you, because you dwell in the secret place of the Most High. Only with your eyes you look on and see the reward of the wrong ones, because you have made Yahuwah my refuge, the Most High your dwelling place. No evil befalls you, and a plague does not come near your tent. For he commands his messengers concerning you, to guard you in all your ways. They bear you up in their hands, lest you dash your foot against a stone. You tread upon lion and cobra, young lion and serpent you trample underfoot. Because he cleaves to me in love, therefore I deliver him. I set him on high. Why? Because he has known my name. When he calls on me, I answer him. I am with him in distress. I deliver him and esteem him. With long life I satisfy him and show him my deliverance, and show him my Yeshua, my salvation, my salvation. So all of this, Zion, is a byproduct of dwelling in that secret place, of dwelling in that secret place. Where is that secret place? Because like you, I want all of that byproduct. I don't want the plague to come near my tent. With my eyes, I want to see the destruction of the wicked. Only with my eyes, I want to behold 10,000 falling at my right hand. Only with my eyes I want to behold this, because I dwell in the secret place of the Most High. So where is it? What is it? How do we get there, to this secret place? Again, the operative word is secret. So it is something concealed. It is something hidden. It is something hidden. Well, let me preface that with one more scripture. I'm going to read to you from Ephesians, the 2nd chapter. I'm going to read verse 1 through 7. Beginning at verse 1, it reads, "And you were dead in trespasses and sins, in which you once walked according to the course of this world, according to the ruler of the authority of the air, of the spirit that is now working in the sons of disobedience, among whom also all once lived in the lust of our flesh, doing the desires of the flesh and of the mind, doing the desires of the flesh and of the mind. Remember, Shaul also says in Galatians that we are to walk in the Ruach so that we do not fulfill the desires of our flesh. Not that this doesn't have desire, because it does. This is filthy. Don't underestimate it. It is filthy, it is powerful, and it is still in subjection to the prince of the power of the air. And this is why we must be born from above, whereby now we are no longer citizens of the Eretz, where Hashatan is ruler, but we are citizens of above, where Yahuwah is our sovereign. And whereby being born from above, our hearts being circumcised by the fire of the Ruach HaKodesh, we no longer walk in accordance to the desires of our flesh, but we walk in accordance with the Ruach. We walk in accordance with the Ruach. So it reads here, whom also we all once lived in the lust of our flesh, doing the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature children of wrath, as also the rest, as also the rest. But Yahuwah, who is rich in compassion, because of his great ahabah, his great love with which he has loved us, even when we were dead in trespasses, made us alive together with Mashiach. By favor you have been delivered and raised up together. Now, I don't have time to address that if there are any Christians listening. We ain't delivered by belief only. I don't have time to address this. I have addressed this in other videos, but I'm not going to address it in this one. Nevertheless, by favor you have been delivered and raised up together, and listen, and made us sit together in the Shamayim, in Mashiach Yahusha, in order to show in the coming ages the exceeding riches of his favor and kindness towards us in Mashiach Yahusha. So it reads here, it says that we have been made to sit together in Shamayim, in Mashiach Yahusha. We have been made to sit together with him. In other translations, it reads that we sit in, as they say, heavenly places. We sit in places in Shamayim with Hamashiach. With Hamashiach. So what does that have to do with the secret place? What does that have to do with the secret place? Here's what you need to understand, my mishpaka. When our ancestors, the Kohen Gadol, what is called the high priest, when he entered the Kodesh Kodeshim, which is the most set apart place, he not only carried the crookedness of our ancestors upon him, he carried their crookedness. He carried their crookedness with him into the most set apart place. They couldn't enter, but he could enter. And so when he not only carried their crookedness into the most set apart place, but he also wore on him a breastplate. A breastplate. And on this breastplate were 12 stones, representative of the 12 tribes of Yasha'al. Representative of the 12 tribes of Yasha'al. Again, only he could enter. Only he could go beyond the veil to the Kodesh Kodeshim, to the most set apart place, to that secret place. You see, if only he knew, if only he could enter, and no one else knew what it looked like. It was concealed to them. It was a secret place. It was a secret place, as only the Kohen Gadol could enter. But again, on his breastplate were 12 stones representing the 12 tribes of Yasha'al. Yasha'al. So when he entered, he carried our ancestors with him into the most set apart place. And so while he was there, they were there with him, standing before the compassion seat on Yom Kippurim, standing before the compassion seat, begging for compassion from the Most High Yah. They were there with him. They were there in the secret place with the Kohen Gadol. They were there with him. And you see, the same continues today through our Kohen Gadol in the order of Melchizedek, Yahusha HaMashiach. Yahusha HaMashiach. But you see, the difference is, Zion, between him and the Kohen Gadol that was earthly. You see, he is always in the Kodesh, Kodashim. He is always in the secret place of the Most High Yah. He is always there. And if we are seated with him, we are always there in the Kodesh, Kodashim, in the most set apart place. In the most set apart place. A deeper context is this, Zion. The earthly Kohen Gadol was a representative of the whole house of Yasha'al. You see, he was the righteousness that the whole house of Yasha'al was called to be. He was the righteousness that the whole house of Yasha'al was called to be. Thus, he represented us. He indeed was the people. He was the representative of the people, and he indeed was the people. And so when he entered, the people entered. When he entered, the people entered. Moreover, he was a example and a foreshadowing to the people, to a nation of Kohanim. He was to teach them and show them by example, teach a nation of Kohanim what it looked like to be a Kohanim, what it looked like and what it meant to be set apart to the Most High Yah. And see, we, in a deeper context, as Kohanim, dispersed among the nations, we too are to be living examples, living Torahs, living lights, to show the nations what it looks like and what it means to be set apart to the Most High Yah. Nevertheless, he was indeed the people. And so when he entered, they entered. When he entered the most set apart place, they entered. Thus, when our Kohen Gadol, in the order of Melchizedek, entered the Kodesh Kodashim once and for all, through him, we have also entered the Kodesh Kodashim once and for all, provided that you have been born from above. Provided that you have been born from above, the Torah has been written upon your heart, that you are worshiping him in Ruach and in truth, and guarding his set-apart Torah as best that you can, and walking the way and fighting to stay in the path of Zedekah for his great name's sake, fighting to keep your garments spotless. The word declares that we are seated in the Shamayim with him. We are seated in that set apart place. It matters not what this tells you, Zion. This is a deception. This is a trap. Don't listen to it. Hashatan has access to this. He can speak to this, but he cannot speak to the Ruach, to our Nefesh, which is Achad, with the Most High, which is Achad, with the Most High, which is one with the Most High, and seated with him in places in Shamayim. You see, this is why he cannot snatch us from his hands, because we are not seated in the physical realm. We are seated, we are in his hands in the reign of Shamayim. We are seated with him in Shamayim places, and that's why nothing can snatch us from his hands, provided that you have been immersed in the set apart name of Yahushua, and you have gone underneath the water, symbolic of you dying, and rising from underneath the water, symbolic of you being resurrected. If we have died and been resurrected to the newness of life, whereby having the penalty of death fulfilled in us through him, and we have received the immersion of the Ruach HaKodesh, whereby we have been born from above, whereby having his righteous Torah written upon our hearts, and we are walking in the way. We are in that secret place, Zion. We are seated with him in the secret place, in that secret place. I mentioned before that the Kohen Gadol represented the people. He was the people. He represented the firstborn son. He was the firstborn son. And so when he entered, the people entered because he carried the people with him on his breastplate. He carried the people with him on his breastplate. Not unlike him, Zion, and I need you to hear me. Not unlike him, you see, Yahuwah is Achad. He is Achad. He is one. He is not a trinity. He is not a trinity. He is Achad. He is one. And our Alua, through his great compassion and love for us, because of the promise that he made to Adam, and that he himself would come down and assume flesh, would assume the flesh of men, and would die in our place. Through his great compassion, he created a body for himself in which to dwell. And in this form, he came as our deliverer, Yahusha. Yahuwah is deliverance. He came as our deliverer. He came not as the firstborn son, as the Yahid, as the only begotten son in the literal sense, but he came as his firstborn son, Yasha'al, as his firstborn son, Yasha'al. And he took on the penalty of the curses of death that were pronounced against his firstborn son, and died in the place of his firstborn son, whereby his blood was counted as our blood. The firstborn of Yahusaf and Miriam came as his firstborn son, Yasharal, and not literally as the firstborn son of Yahuwah, as the only begotten son of Yahuwah. You, Zion, are the only begotten son. You, Zion, are the firstborn son. He is Yahuwah. He is Yahad. He cannot be both Yahuwah and the son. He came as his son, as Yasharal, and died in our place. Thus, when he entered the Kodesh Kodashim as us, we also entered into the Kodesh Kodashim with him, provided you are adhering to the aforementioned. You have been immersed in his set apart name. You have died. You've been You've died and you've been resurrected. You have received the immersion of the Ruach HaKodesh. It is written upon your heart, and you are walking the way, neither turning to the right or to the left. You are walking the way. Hence, you are seated with him right now. Whether you've seen it or not, you are seated with him in the Kodesh, Kodashim. Pay no attention to this. We are seated with him. We are seated with him. Do you understand? We have entered the most set apart place with our Hamashiach. And there we remain, and nothing can snatch us from his hands. Again, Hashatan has dominion over this. He has dominion over this, and that's why we must be born from above, whereby now we're no longer citizens of the Eretz, where he has dominion over, but we are citizens of above, and our sovereign is Yahuwah, whereby we no longer walk in accordance to the desires of our flesh, but we walk in accordance with the Ruach. Again, some of our desires are not going to go away, so do not be deceived. Some of those desires, some of those wicked thoughts are not going to go away. So do not be deceived and do not beat yourself up because you still have those desires in your flesh. Walk in the Ruach so that you do not fulfill the desires of your flesh, so that whereby we are obeying Yah rather than Hashatan. We are obeying Yah rather than Hashatan, and whereby we are defeating the curse of the first Adam, and we are walking as the second Adam, whereby we are obeying Yah rather than Hashatan. Yah rather than Hashatan. Don't be deceived. He's going to have dominion over this until it is finally destroyed. And perhaps you're going to have those thoughts warring against your Nafash until this is finally destroyed. But pay no mind. You're still seated in Shamayim. Just walk in accordance with the Ruach and not in accordance with this. With this. He does not have dominion over the Nafash. He does not have dominion over the inner man. Over the inner man, he does not have dominion over him. Through Hamashiach, we're seated in Shamayim. Again, provided that we have died, been buried, and resurrected with him, undergoing the mikvah tabalah. Not the pagan baptismal, but the mikvah tabalah, which is an up and down dipping motion, not a pagan going backwards, being immersed or being what is indoctrinated into Mithraism, but going up and down in a tabal means to dip, an up and down motion, the mikvah tabalah, where no hands touch you, because it is tradition amongst our people when a child is born, the first hands that touch that child are the hands of the father. Thus, when you undergo the mikvah tabalah, undergoing an up and down motion, no hands touch you. The first hands that touch you when you come up from underneath the waves are the hand of Yahuwah, Yahuwah our Eluah, Yahuwah our Eluah. I came to when Yahusha came from underneath the waves, that a dove, that the Ruach HaKodesh descended in the form of a dove and descended upon him. And a voice cried out from Shamayim, "This is my beloved Yahid, in whom I am well pleased." No hands touch you. No hands touch you. No matter what your flesh tells you, no matter what it tells you, it matters not what afflictions or trials we face. It matters not what temptations we face. It matters not what the enemy tries to deposit into our minds, into our nafash, into our lababs. It matters not. Don't feel guilt. Don't beat yourself up about it. You're probably going to have those thoughts again until this flesh is finally destroyed. But the key to overcoming the enemy is to walk in the Ruach is to always walk in the Ruach so that you do not fulfill the desires of your flesh, so that you and I remain seated in that secret place, in the Kodesh Kodashim, with our Kohen Gadol, Yahusha, Yahuwah, our Alua, our Alua. We cannot believe the illusion of our flesh. It is a deception. I pray that this has been a barakah to you. I pray that it has edified you. I pray that it has enlightened you. Yahuwah barak you and guard you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and show favor to you. Yahuwah lift up his face towards you and give you shalom. Thus you shall put my name on the banim, on the children of Yasha'al, and I myself shall barak them. Amen, amen,